Hello, everyone. Right, today, as promised, we've got the lady herself, Pam, who you're the founder, aren't you, of this DNA
Yes.
for 5K?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got the founder, Pam, who's here to explain to us what it is she does, why she does it, and answer questions for you guys. So, Pam, why don't you start off by introducing yourself to everyone? Uh,
Yes.
Tell them a little bit about what it is you do here on this site and what inspired you to start it.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Frank, first for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. So my name is Pam Francis, and 32 years ago, my younger sister was killed in a violent sex crime. And she was actually my cousin by blood, but she grew up in my home as my sister. We raised her. And she and I were very close in age. We were very close to each other. And so when she was 19, she was living in an apartment in Indianapolis, and she didn't show up to work. Nobody could reach her for a couple of days. And then she was eventually found. She had been stabbed to death like 67 times. So it was a tragic, tragic death. She was raped and mutilated. So it was really awful to swallow for sure at the time. And the case very quickly went cold. And I don't know, I mean, a lot of you probably have similar experiences with loved ones in your life, but that was really hard for us, especially for me as her sister, to watch that case go cold because it felt like nobody cared. And it felt like I had no way of like helping, or I was helpless about it. There was nothing I could do about it. The case was cold for over 30 years. And we got a detective who called me out of the blue at kind of the 20-year mark. And he asked if he could help to investigate this case in his spare time. He was not a homicide detective, but he had some extra time and he had interest, and a friend of his in the department knew Carmen. And so he had said, "Hey, would you mind looking at this case?" So he asked me, he's going to look at it in his spare time. And he is the one who worked tirelessly to bring us justice. Last August of 2024, they arrested the perpetrator based on genetic genealogy, which was, really exciting, but also like I felt like it was going to be the answer to all my prayers, and that was going to be the day I was waiting for. But in the end, it kind of just made me feel a little bit of a letdown because we still have so much waiting and there's still no answers, and I still don't know why it happened. And now this person is in jail and we're waiting on trial, but that's taking forever as well. We're told that the trial probably won't happen until 2026. So it's just, if you're a family member of a victim, then you are probably familiar with these feelings of excitement and letdown and frustration. But that's where we stand with our case. And that was the inspiration behind this run. So essentially for us, the biggest hurdle in this case was the DNA. And it wasn't because the technology wasn't available, because it was and it is, but it was because it was so expensive. And we were told that civilians couldn't pay for the DNA testing. So, for example, my father offered to pay for the testing years and years and years ago, but we were told that he wasn't allowed to because he was a civilian. It has to come through a nonprofit. Then we thought maybe we could fundraise for the money to do the testing, but we were told we can't fundraise for it. It has to come through a nonprofit. So, luckily for us, there was a nonprofit here in the US that paid for Carmen's DNA testing called Season of Justice. And I didn't know about this nonprofit until just this year, like in March or February, but that's who paid for it. And that's how it got kind of pushed through here at the end, the home stretch. And then they were able to draw a picture of the person based on that DNA and eventually run the genetic genealogy to figure out who that person is. So reflecting now with our case, kind of looking at a trial and hopefully, sort of some closure around it, I really wanted to give back to other families that are in similar shoes, that have been waiting for years and years and years for answers and feel helpless, and who need the help to get that DNA paid for. What I have learned is in the United States, there's
Hold up.
yeah. Go ahead.
Someone's asking for a link to Season of Justice.
Oh,
Is that
Season of Justice.
yeah?
Let me just find it really quickly. Seasonofjustice.org. And they're really a great organization. They fundraise for money specifically for DNA testing. They work nationwide here in the U.S. And the way it operates is the law enforcement can reach out to them and apply for money for DNA testing, and then they review the applications and grant it out as they can. They have more limited funds than there are need. So they don't all get funded every time, but they do try for sure.
Just put that in the chat for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. So essentially that's why we started this race, is to raise money. Now, I did not know about Season of Justice when I had this idea. So thinking, what are my options? I partnered with Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana. So again, Crime Stoppers is an organization we have nationwide, but each state and region have their own local entity. Truly, the function of Crime Stoppers is to take tips. So if I have information on a case, or I want to give a tip to the cops about something I saw, but I want to be anonymous, I can call Crime Stoppers, remain anonymous, give my tip, and they'll pass it on to law enforcement. So that's kind of essentially what Crime Stoppers is set up for. But I knew that it was a nonprofit, and I was told by law enforcement that it would be a palatable organization to receive money from to test DNA. So I went through them. And so I'm now working with Crime Stoppers to raise money and awareness for DNA testing in the state of Indiana. So that's
can I just ask, so just so we're clear, you raise the money, and then does the family come to you or come through you to apply for the funds to help with a DNA test?
So I'm just helping set up the race and the website and helping to spread the word. But let's say if you go on to the website and you donate $50, that goes to Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana. And then similarly to Season of Justice, what would happen is our local law enforcement could go to Crime Stoppers and say, I have a case, we need to do DNA testing, and I would like to apply for money. So it does not come through me at all.
Okay.
It would go directly to Crime Stoppers. I'm just the one kind of, putting it together. Yeah.
So a family can't come to you directly or to Crime Stoppers. They have to go through law enforcement, who would contact Crime Stoppers, because you raise the money, Crime Stoppers holds it, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm just trying to reduce the barrier to the conversation of, we don't have the money for your DNA testing, because that held us up for a good 10 years at least.
Yeah.
So now if you have a case anywhere, in Indiana, and you feel like you've got the DNA, you'd love to test it, but you don't know how to pay for it, you could tell your detective, hey, I know Crime Stoppers has a fund of money for this, or they might even know that on themselves. And then they could call Crime Stoppers and get it funded in theory. Yeah. So yeah, the money doesn't come to me at all.
So is the run just because you needed something? So it was like, you know what, let's make them run. What's the idea behind the run?
I think part of it too for me was, it's such a dark space for a lot of us, especially probably from my perspective, because I'm a family member.
Yeah.
It's such a dark space, and I really wanted to find a way to bring light and hope to this space. I felt like, how can we make this not so dark for all of the other family members out there? And so a 5K seemed like a fun way to engage with other community members, enjoy the day. We also are doing a community building event after the run for affected family members to get together and just start to build that communal space of support and comfort. And I would love other families in Indiana to know what I'm working on and have their help or their engagement, and to help them feel like there is still a chance for them. I'm being inspired to spend a good part of my life to advocate for other family members. So I just kind of wanted to find a way to connect with them. And it's actually, you're looking at the website, that piece of art was also done in the same vein. Carmen, my sister, was an artist. She died very young, but she was a very gifted artist at a young age. And so as a way to kind of tip my hat to her, I had a young artist who's 14 do the artwork for this event and the logo. And I told her, I said, I just want to bring some light to the space that we're in. And I think she did a good job of capturing a youthful and fun spirit around a really heavy topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's 7,000 families who are waiting on answers in cold cases in Indiana. And we have 1,100 plus missing person cases. So there is a need. And I feel like, up to this point, I haven't engaged with any other family members of other victims, but I would like to. I mean, I know that might sound a little weird, but again,
Yeah,
it's
I know
just
what you
a
mean.
place of support and I understand you kind of way, So I was hoping to kind of tap into that. So if you do register for the race, anybody listening or listening later, when you go to register, you can sign up. If you are a family member and you've had a victim or a close friend, or, they felt like family to you, there is a lunch afterwards that we're hosting. And I'm inviting those people to submit a name of who they're running in honor of, as well as a photo of that person. And I'd like to build a memorial wall to the people that were there to represent that day. So just know that it's an option as you go through the registration process. But, I'd like to work on that over the coming years. We'd like to do this race every year. So
You wanted to branch out nationwide as well. Like, obviously, right now you're focused on Indiana because, well, when you start out, you don't want to start out bigger than what you are. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
you're hoping at some point to branch out nationwide.
Yes, I am. I mean, that's still very early conversation, but if it goes well, I would like to approach Crime Stoppers about their interest in doing that and spreading this out to other cities and other states.
Okay, so I can't enter because it's going to cost me around about $4,000 to get there and
come over.
and that's not even thinking of accommodation and things like that. So for people like myself or other people in the chat, is there a way that we could donate without signing up to the event?
Yes. So there is a button on the homepage that says donate, and you can click on donate and just give there. They have some suggested amounts, and then there's a place that says other. You can create your own amount. But yes, if you would like to donate, we would very much appreciate that. If you own a business or are of a high level managerial position and you have a say-so in how you manage your giving dollars, you could also be a sponsor. And then we would, there's some benefits on sponsorship. We would basically use your logo on all of our printed materials, our banners, our t-shirt, and all the rest of it, give you social media recognition. If you're local, we would offer you a booth, that you could have a booth at the event. We will have some vendors there. I have tried to handpick some vendors that benefit this space. So just to kind of explain that further, I have a company there called Damsel in Defense they specialize in personal safety devices. So if you're a runner and you're by yourself, or even if you're not, you're a college student and you walk on campus or whatever, they have things like mace and personal safety devices to help you be safe. And I have a self-defense company coming to do self-defense demonstrations. So that's kind of what I mean by hand picking. I've tried to find organizations that are also centered around safety and preventative type things. Then the Indianapolis Police Department will also be there with their victims advocate unit and their therapy dogs. So they will be there to offer assistance to families or share resources. So say, for example, you've lost someone and you're struggling emotionally, they will be able to give you low cost or even free resources for therapy and stuff like that. So I'm trying to pull together people that make sense for this cause.
Yeah.
So if you know of
like
anybody, and want to make a suggestion,
Yeah.
I'd be open to that.
Well, that's like me. Look, we work in cases and things like that. People like yourself, one, it breaks down, constantly doing, a case, but it's also showing people what's out there. Look, this is something that you guys as a community can make a massive difference.
Yes.
Not only that, you can become part of a community by attending these events, and if you can't attend the events, you can still get involved by donating to the event.
Yes.
Yeah, because that donation could be the reason that a case gets solved.
Yes, absolutely. And the impact really is it's a big trickle effect. It's not just affecting one case or one family, but it's also, one victim, like my sister, there's probably 75 people that are close to her that miss her. We're all more susceptible to mental health, physical health issues because we don't have closure. And then you continue taking that further. I've learned that 45% of homicides go cold. And that's a statistic I'm just not okay with, because as a criminal, that's a pretty good odd. If I'm going to commit a crime and I think I have 50% chance getting away with it, then I'm probably going to do it, So it helps keep our streets safer by holding people accountable. And it also helps exonerate people that aren't involved. That's a big thing too. A lot of people, and at least in the US, are convicted and they're innocent. And so there's a whole organization around that too, is trying to exonerate the innocent. And I think this also helps towards that. So really it's one of these causes that just makes sense on so many levels. And I think there's just a lack of awareness, although that's changing. I do see more and more of this in the news and a lot more cases being solved with DNA. So I'm hoping we're kind of hitting it at the right time and our message will be received and that impact will just start to grow. So that's what I'm hoping for. And also I'll just
Jinx has said.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, I am also exploring advocacy work around greater rights for families. So in other words, let's say your family member was killed and that case has gone cold and nothing has happened with it for 10, 15 years. I would like to see an environment where family members can specifically request that DNA be sent to a DNA lab for testing and then to a genetic genealogist to run the data to find that person outside of law enforcement's direct involvement. Because if it's just sitting in a box on a shelf and they don't have the resources or they don't have the money, then I think families need to have more right around finding justice, and I'm doing that. I'm exploring that in conjunction with law enforcement. I'm not working against them. It's just one of these things where I feel like it's overwhelming, the number of cold cases. And at least in the US, our law enforcement do struggle with resources and finances. So to the extent that we can build a better system, I think that would make a lot of sense. And again, work towards helping those families,
I'm just dropping in the chat now these links. So this is the sign up site for the site you see in front of you. This is the site that was mentioned, Season of Justice. And this is Crime Stoppers Indiana. Well, It says
Okay.
.org, so I'm guessing it's all of them.
We also
Jinx
have a
just was
Facebook
just saying, like,
Sorry.
you have a Facebook as well.
We have Facebook,
What's
Instagram,
the
and
Facebook
LinkedIn too. Yep, and they're all under DNA 5K. So if you want to like or follow one of those, then you'll get, the latest updates. And I do plan right now, this is just a website for a race, but I do want to build a website where it can be ongoing. That Facebook is probably where you would get updates throughout the year, at least until we get a website going. So we're kind of in the infancy.
What's the Facebook group called?
They're all called DNA 5K. Let's see. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can drop it, but I could send it to you, Frank, and you could post it.
I think you can put it in the private chat. If you put it in the private chat, and I can copy and paste it over.
Okay. I'm just going to copy it.
So while we're waiting for that, I just want to. I'll read this out. That's on the message. Oh, hold up, because I'm full screen now. Just read the message out on the site for you while Pam does that. No. Good. I'm not used to computers. So scroll down. Events. So this is the description of what it's on about. So join us in remembering all murder victims. Help fight for their justice. DNA 5K, Run for Hope, Stand for Justice. Inspired by Cameron Hope VanHuss, and in partnership with Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana, we aim to raise money for advanced DNA testing to uncover crucial answers and ensure that the pursuit for justice continues for those who no longer have a voice. With over 7,000 cold cases in Indiana, DNA testing is critical in pursuit of justice for these families. Sorry, something's in the corner of my eye. There we go. And while we are lucky the technologies exist, tests can run to tens of thousands of dollars for one case, depending on what is needed. Therefore, substantial fundraising is needed to ensure crucial testing is accessible in a timely manner to all who need. Please help us in this important pursuit. And then you can get everything from the site. If you've got a question to ask, you can ask a question directly. Like I said, if you can't make the event but you want to help out, you can donate. If you run a company, you can sponsor them. You know what I mean? And you feature on the website like these companies here.
Mm-hmm.
And they set you a booth up at their events, like she said.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'd love to see anybody who can make it. We'd love to have you. So, and you can also email me at Pamela@DNA5K if you have any questions.
Is that the email that I've got you on?
No, you have my
day
job email, but I do have one set up for specifically for questions about the run. It's Pamela, PAMELA at DNA5K.com.
There we go. Got the group. Control C. Let's put this Facebook group in there because there's a lot of people actually they might listen to, but they don't interact with the chat.
Right.
But they interact with Facebook groups, if you know what I mean. Okay. So
yeah. So we'll keep that up throughout the year. But like I said, this race website will be seasonal. It'll be live when the race is happening.
Yeah.
So
if you want any information about when they're doing the next event or anything, your best bet is going on Any updates that they're doing will be the Facebook.
Yes.
But like she just said, if you see on the Facebook that there's an event coming up, is it right to say that the website then will become the focal point for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, do you have any questions for me, Frank, or any questions in the chat that we could address?
Right, the chat's probably going to be behind a few seconds, so if you ask
Okay.
that, if there's any questions in the chat that you guys want to ask now. While Pam's here, saves having to back and forth. Anyone on replay, like I said, you can go on the website and you can ask Pam, and she'll get back to you that way. Well, you can ask on there. I don't know if it's just Pam that's answering on there, but they'll get back to you that way.
Mm-hmm. I have had some questions around people coming and handing out flyers for missing persons, and that is completely fine. If you are looking for someone and you want to hand out information, I'm completely fine with that. So just let me know and we'll talk that through further.
Yeah, Rescue says, Pam, thank you for the phenomenal prezzo. I'm guessing that means presentation.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jinx. Is there any? Oh, here you go. Here's a question because we've got the two mods just trying to. I don't know what they're doing, but they're going to be in trouble after this. Okay, here's a question. Was the issue in your sister's case the actual testing of genetic material, or was it the cost of hiring someone to do the genetic genealogy?
Yeah, it was actually the cost of doing it and accessing the funds. So like I said, they wouldn't let like my parents pay for it. Another random woman in town tried to pay for it. She was denied. So they were just saying, we don't have the money, and we didn't have any guidance on where to go to get the money. And without us knowing, a nonprofit paid for it and they took that money. So once that was done, that was in 2020. So it took about 4 years from that time to get all the way to the end of that genetic process. So it does take quite a long time, but the real hurdle was getting the money, getting access to the money. So that's, again, the goal is to reduce that barrier for other families. Yeah.
Thank you, Lee, for your question. Karen, you have always got a question. Where are you? No, I think you covered pretty much everything anyway.
Okay. Well, if anybody else has
Karen,
something,
if you're out there, say again.
If anybody has anything, they can always reach out.
Yeah, that's fine. If anybody wants to reach out to Pam, again, she'll give you the email. The Facebook group's there. Can they contact you through the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They can contact you through the Facebook group. They can contact. Oh, you answered it all. All right, Karen. Or you can contact via the website, whichever. If it's something that we've given you today, oh, actually, no, that's a bad thing to say because we've given you a few other links. So the website and the Facebook group, they are the best way to contact her. You can also contact her via email. I'll get her email off her and I'll put it in the Discord because I don't really feel comfortable putting that into the chat. She has said it, so if you want to go back and make a note of it, that's fine. I just don't feel comfortable just dropping it in the chat.
Totally fine. Okay, well, thank you so much for having me on, Frank. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the publicity and the help with the reach.
No, well, next time I hear off you by the next event, I hope you're nationwide. You know what I mean?
We're getting there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Thank you for coming on and thank you for the information and all that.
Absolutely.
I believe we've got a few that are attending and a few that are actually entering. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
On some, and you know about others that are entering. So Yeah, it'd be great to hear off my guys what they like. If I can get something set up after the event, and they can tell everyone about what the event was like and things like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, and I can connect with you too and give you some feedback. If anybody joins from this channel, I'd love to see you there. If you come up and tell me that this is where you learned about it, that would be fun for me.
Go up and tell her that,
Yep.
so she knows who you are. Just say, the British guy that forced you onto his site.
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, he's
All right. Well,
forced us
thanks for
here as well
everybody for
today.
listening.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your story as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you for that.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Is she gone? There she goes. Okay. Right. We've got the website for you. You know the website now. You can donate via the website. We'll just quickly go over the website. You can donate via the website. You can sign up via the website. If you have a business, you can sponsor via the website. Everything is in this website. I'd get the Facebook up, but I've got to delete the app off my phone because the app is absolutely terrible. So there's also a kids event. If you sign up before the 19th of September, it is at a lower cost, but prices will increase after September 19th. Event info. Oh, there's more. There's also a gallery for photos that people that will be going up of the event. This is the okay. I did have the address for it, but yeah, all the information you guys need is on this website. It's on the website. It's on the Facebook page as well that I've shared with you. Thanks to everyone for coming. If you're on the replay, hit the like, share, subscribe. Thank you all for coming. Jinx Rescue, you are in trouble. I will speak to you later. Pammy's gorgeous. Okay. I'll speak to you all later. Thank you for coming. And those on the replay, enjoy.